So, what do you think are the key activities you can share you are doing in venture capital? So, what is your expertise?
So okay, so as a venture partner, you not only has to source deals, but also once you find a deal that, let's say, is in your area, falls in your area of expertise, and you really like the business idea, then you have to do you have to prepare memo, right? Memos, basically, in which you explain what is the solution, what is the technology behind, who are these entrepreneurs behind, do they have track record? You have to talk about the industry, the competitors, right? Why the solution is so different. What is how do you say this, the unfair advantage, right? That are gonna allow this stuff to conquer a significant market share, and it's not gonna give time to the competition to respond, to replicate the solution, or build a barrier of entry. And what is the track record, for example, of entrepreneurs, right? So when you go to these encounters, you don't ask basic questions like, oh, what do you do? What did you do before? Like, what is your company trying to do? No, I mean, you should be prepared. It's like a job interview, right? Like when you go to these kind of events, you already have done some research about the entrepreneur and about the company. That helps a lot, you know. And also the entrepreneur will assess you at the same time, right? It is well known that they are asking for money, but also they will realize that you're not coming prepared, right? So it's very important. Yeah. So you need a lot of networking, you need a lot of social skills, a lot of empathy, a lot of listening, emotional intelligence. You should not discourage at all the entrepreneur, you know, even if it's not a solution from your area of expertise, you should try to connect them, right, and help them to connect with someone in your network, right, because it's helpful for both of you.
Yeah, it's very helpful to know this. I think it's sounds like a really encouraging approach. Yeah, very emphatic.
Thank you. Besides that, your social and networking skills, you had to, and besides preparing this detailed memo about the business idea, the market opportunity, the market size, it's very important because venture capitals are looking for the next unicorn, right? The next unicorn is basically a company that is going to be able to generate in the future, right, between 1 to 10 years, $100 million in revenues, right? That's in average, right? And we are interested in that, right? We also have to describe what kind of business model is this, right? If it's a SaaS, a marketplace, enterprise, so and also we do the financial analysis, right? Like and I know that my area is seed, pre-seed, anything before Series A. So when that happens, there is not much financial information, but still you have to do a mental exercise, right, to try to anticipate what could be the revenues, expenses, and the market share that this solution can capture, right? All that, we call it due diligence, right? And it goes in the memo when there are these negotiations with the entrepreneur to see how much dilutions they want to face and how much shares they want to share with the venture capitalists in exchange for the money that they will be fundraising. Then we craft the term sheet, right? The term sheet is basically the legal document in which we specify the terms and the conditions of the investment. And then once this is signed, basically we send the check, and it depends, right? Some venture capital wants to lead rounds, some others just want to complete. And the functions and the responsibilities are different. But for example, for a leading investor, is not only expected to provide money, but also networking, to help with the recruiting of talent, to provide strategic advice. And most of the time, these funds get a seat on the board, right? In addition to the CEO and the CTO, right? So then other activities that we do is a lot of networking. Like we want to, in our network of investors, we want to promote this idea so they can get more fundraising, right? We have to be ready to accept and welcome other rounds, right? I'm talking about round A, round B, so on and so forth. So we had to introduce this solution and these entrepreneurs to our network and provide these future fundraising rounds. At the same time, we had to provide follow-up investment. Follow-up investment basically is we make an initial investment when it was seed, but now that it progressed towards Series A, we had to follow up. Otherwise, we want to lose our participation, right? We want to keep the participation for investment at least, especially when it's a promising unicorn, right? So those are basically the activities that we do. Sometimes there is a besides being a subject matter of expert, right? Like in my case, is Web3 AI or fintech. You can be someone that has a lot of investor network, and then you are helpful to the fund in order to do fundraising, right? Other situation is like you can be an operator, like you have a lot of experience in product management, in building and scaling a company before. So then that expertise is good because you can send this key person to sit on the board or to collaborate with the entrepreneurs in order to scale their operations, right? So these are basically the three main profiles, right? Like the networker with funds, the operator, and the subject matter of expertise.
Interesting. So your area is like subject matter of expert, yeah?
Yeah, I would say like I'm more like a subject matter of expert because of my 20 plus years of experience in fintech, and I have been following AI and Web3 for a while. And I would say like that would be like 80%, perhaps probably 60 to 80%, then 20 to 30% networking because I realized that my social skills are not bad and I'm able to relate and find deals very easily. An operator, I would say that's not my area, although I'm good at streamlining operations. Like when I work in financial services, I was good at improving operations all the time. But one thing is streamlining operations to cut costs, which is most of my experience. Another thing is like a scale up, right? And a business model, right?
So it looks like you cover all the three areas in like end-to-end process. It's a lot. Is this supposed to be
Yeah.
in venture capital that one person can do everything? Just curious.
No. Normally, when you are when you fundraise, when you create a fund as a venture capital, you need 2 or 3 partners, you know. And basically, the functions are like that, right? Like one is the fundraiser, the one who no, handle the relationship, right? The other is the subject matter expert, right? That does the investment decisions, and the other is basically the operator, right? Someone that has some technological or operative expertise in the areas that this fund wants to specialize, right? Let's say there is a fund specializing in AI, Web3, and fintech. So this is an operator that has track record of scaling operations in these 3 areas, right? So you need the 3 of them, right? But there's not the case that one guy can run the whole thing. No, it's very time consuming. Yes.
Yeah, but you said that if you source a deal, it looks like you can identify what advices would be useful for this owner, yeah, for this startup. So you can analyze all the finance model, yeah, and some of the development plan to assess the information and help them how to apply for fundraising, if I understood correct.
Yeah, that is correct. When you do the due diligence and you are taking a deep dive on the business model and the solutions and the market size and the competition, you come up with ideas, right? That is why they are looking for two specific background, right? For subject matter of expert, right? They look for ex-consultants or investment banker, let's say, right? So it happens that I have both, right? So I have been an investment banker and also a consultant. So and when you start analyzing this business model, you come up naturally with go-to-market ideas that you share with the entrepreneur and tell them, hey, why don't you try this? You could do this, and this, right? And then the entrepreneur say, oh, wow, yes, I never thought about it, right? Because they are too focused on the technology, right, and not in this other strategic side of trying to outmatch the competition, right, in the particular segment that they want to to penetrate, right? So yeah, it happened to me in some deals, and yeah, the entrepreneurs are always open. I mean, the entrepreneurs should be open to feedback, and they will welcome this advice, right? And this is part of the value added that venture capitals provide to entrepreneurs, right? Not only money, it's advice, strategic advice, go-to-market strategy advice, connections, recruiting talent, in addition to providing dollars, right?
Yeah, I think it's very valuable. Yeah, great, awesome. So you are very demanded, I think. You can get all in one.
Well,
Okay,
you won't
Carl.
believe you won't believe this, but the
Yeah.
market is competitive,
Mhm.
So because we have fiduciary duties to the investors that trust us the money. So the way it's structured is basically you have limited partners, right? And then the limited partners entrust the money to a general partner. So the general partner is basically the one who makes the decisions of investment. So if the general partner is good, then everything is fine. But if the general partner does not have expertise or is bad, then we can have problems, right? One of the problems would be like you launch only one fund and that's it. That's the end of your career, right? So that is why the venture capital funds is competitive. They are looking for the best talent in the world. So there are roles that are basically based on carry, like they don't pay salaries. So try to break through as an analyst or as an associate is competitive. It demands a lot of effort and dedication. But if it's something that you like, I mean, you go for it.
Great, very inspiring. Okay, girl.
And
So
also, sorry, and I forgot to tell you this. Like, also, it's like it's a good area because most of the rich people in USA they start doing this because it's when you are well connected and when you have this talent to discover really good businesses. I mean, this is when you make the money more than in the stock market or let's say cryptocurrencies, right? Because these are the very, very early stage future public companies, right? This is the way that people make their money in Facebook, in Google before they went public companies, right? So when they were startups, right? So it's really interesting and it's a very, very interesting ecosystem. And if you have the money, you have the connections, and the access, it can be very profitable.
yeah, I think it's a great combination that it's also about innovation and development. It's something really great.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
not just invest in something stable. You develop something really great. You improve world. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Carl. So my next question was about your some insights and lessons learned you would like to share for those who pass in this, venture capital way, and what your experience.
Yeah, so what I learned so far in my journey is like you had to project manage your time very wisely, right? You will have to meet your processes and your duties when it's related to the venture capital ecosystem or fund that you're working for, right? Meaning this means to do the memos, to attend the presentations, to interview for second, third time to the entrepreneur, to come back with following up questions. That's one part of the equation, right? Your work, right? The other part is the networking, right? Sourcing deals. That's very important to like you have to separate time in your calendar to go to events, to go to do call reaching out to or maybe there is one deal that someone refers you and this is warm introduction, right? And then you had to follow through, right? You had to have initial calls. You had to take a look at decks. You had to listen to pitch sessions. And then of course is once you have prepared the term sheet and you are closing a deal, you had to do all this administrative process of negotiations and inviting others into the round, right? So you are not being alone in funding this particular deal that you have a big conviction. And even besides that, it becomes a series of administrative the compliance and regulations. When you, for example, the fund is fundraising to invest, you have to prepare also for the fund pitch decks to tell what is the track record, what is the investment thesis, what is why the fund is so different to other funds and why the LPs have to put the money on us, right? So that is a lot of a totally different piece of work, but it's very demanding too when it's fundraising time, right? So these are basically four different streams of work. You will be very busy. So I would say besides you being knowledgeable in your areas of expertise, you have to constantly follow up on the technology, on your industry. You have to have a strong project management skills, a strong empathy, a strong interpersonal skills, communication skills, and always be empathetic, always follow through, because the fact that the fund doesn't like a deal that you sourced at the beginning doesn't mean that you cannot provide feedback to the entrepreneur, right? You have to have those sessions too, in which you have to bring bad news to the entrepreneur and say why your particular company didn't like it, right? There's nothing wrong, by the way, because sometimes it's like there's no alignment in the strategies, right? Like the venture capitalist is interested in AI. For example, it happened to me with one, right? It's interested in AI, but not in but per industry, not across industries, right? That happened to me. It was new to me, right? The solution I brought was basically a supply chain solution for multiple industries, right? And the company came back to me, we don't like that. We like only AI per industry. So this industry A doesn't mean industry B. So okay, fine. I mean, it's just that's the way they like it, and they sign legal documents with the LPs, and then they have to follow that investment mandate. They cannot get away from that. So sometimes the situations are like that, right? Sometimes the situations are, the space is very crowded, there are many entrepreneurs that are trying to do the same stuff, and you realize that because you're constantly listening to pitch decks and being approached by entrepreneurs, and then you will get to know what is unique and what is really crowded, right? So that also you can say from outside, right? Listen, this space is kind of crowded, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, So yeah, so that I would say that would be the advice, Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds great. Okay, Carlos. So what are plans for future?
Okay, for the future, well, I will keep myself busy in funneling deals in AI, Web3, in fintech. That is my passion. And while I'm building this track record, let's say in 1 to 2 years, I'll plan to launch my own fund. That's basically in a nutshell my plans.
Well, good luck. I'm sure everything will
Thank
be
you.
perfect. Okay,
Thank
Carlos.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
It
sharing
was my pleasure.
this valuable comments from you and recommendations. And thank you.